Okay.
Cool.
So at this point, I will hand over to Irina and she will take us through the presentation. If you do have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to use the chat box at the bottom of your screen. And there's not many of us today, so I think probably at the end, if you want to just turn your cameras on and mute yourselves, then we can just have a conversation as well. So that's no problem at all. So thank you very much, and Irina, over to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Emma. And I would like to join Emma in welcoming all returning and the new participants to our speaker series. Today's talk is focused on the low water and drought conditions and the water use efficiency. This event was planned back in February, and unfortunately, it's proven to be very good timing to have this particular talk in this time, as all southern Ontario, including the Kawartha Conservation watershed, is experiencing a persistent low water conditions. So let's start. There are a few things we take for granted in our lives, and clean, safe water running endlessly from the tap in our house is one of those few things. This is especially true for those of us who rely on the municipal water supply, even during droughts, despite warnings and about potential shortages and conservation messages. Most of us treat water from the tap as a given. The average person in Ontario uses about 230 liters of water per day, and only a small fraction of that is used for essential things like cooking and drinking. It's about like 5–7%. What many of us do not realize is that it's fairly easy to implement system for saving and reusing water on our own property, thereby decreasing the demand on this shared supply and reducing our water bills and energy bills at the same time. And those measures become especially important during the periods of hot, dry weather that can impact water supplies. Periods like now. Here we are. So what is drought? Generally speaking, a drought is a condition of critically low water supply caused by persistently below normal precipitation. But this is like easy said, but it's not that easy at all. The drought is a very complicated issue, and it is not simply a matter of too little rain. Drought involves all precipitation, rain and snow, and it includes evaporation, transpiration, ground and surface water. A drought starts with lack of precipitation. That, coupled with increased evaporation and transpiration, leads to decreased soil moisture. So below normal precipitation, it leads to decreased soil moisture. It leads to low water, surface water, to depleted groundwater resources. And as not enough water is available, it in turn leads to suppressed plant growth, creates adverse effect on aquatic ecosystems, and restrictions in use for the domestics, municipal, agricultural, and industrial purposes. Unlike these sudden weather events such as hurricanes, tornadoes, and thunderstorms, it is often difficult to pinpoint when a drought has started or when it has ended. The initial effects of drought may be difficult to identify right away, so it may take weeks or months to determine that a drought has started. The end of drought is hard to identify for the same reason. A drought may last for weeks, months, even years. Sometimes drought condition can exist for a decade or more in a given region. The longer drought lasts, the greater the harmful effects it has on the environment, society, and economy. Although considerable research has been done on droughts, there is still no complete understanding of what causes droughts, why sometimes it's so persistent, and why it ends. The theory is that the major factor that determines the drought is a distinctive circulation pattern in the upper atmosphere. Most areas of Canada experience drought. However, it's the agricultural regions that are affected the most. There are historical records of major drought that happens in 19th century in the prairies. The paleo records, such as tree rings and lake sediments around the prairies region, indicate that droughts have occurred frequently and actually extended for decades. The most recent major drought was recorded in 1930s, and it had lasted almost a decade. Local droughts are shorter duration, have occurred since that time in all parts of Canada. It was like late 50s, early 60s, 1980s, and 1999-2005. The drought of 1999-2002 virtually spanned through the entire southern half of the country, stretching from British Columbia to Maritimes, of course, including Ontario. In Ontario, as prescribed by the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry is a lead agency to deal with drought conditions. It is done through the Ontario Low Water Response Program. The program was developed based on the experience of the low water condition that occurred in the last drought that I mentioned, 1999-2002. This program ensures provincial preparedness to the low water conditions, and program supports local response. So in delivery of this program, the province heavily relies on the local conservation authorities, including conservation authorities. We are the boots on the ground partner for the Ontario Low Water Response. Okay, I'm sorry, I just got a message that my Wi-Fi is unstable. So let me know if it interrupts, okay? Thank you. So Ontario Water Response Program is a strategy for local water users and those with an interest in water use to have input in the environmental, economic, and social well-being of their communities. As part of this program, water response teams that include local water users and local water managers are established in areas that experience low water conditions. The province provides overall directions in this program. The major tool in this program is communication and outreach. The important part is the Ontario Low Water Response Program is based on the existing relationship between the province and local bodies. There's no specific legislation attached to the Ontario Low Water Response Program. It is not disaster relief or emergency response plan. The plan is for mitigating the effects of drought through the implementation of both short-term and long-term low water management strategies on the local community level. The program defines 3 levels of low water conditions that escalates from level 1 to level 3. The level 1 is the first indicator of potential water resources problems, and level 3 signals severe problems with water supply, and in some cases, inability for supplies to meet demand. The response actions accelerate as severity of the conditions increase. For example, at level 1, water users are asked to reduce the water consumption by 10%. And at level 3, province may get involved and introduced restrictions to the water use. Low water condition levels are described by the set of indicators that are calculated using observed and historical precipitation and stream flow values. Precipitation indicator is determined by comparing actual observed 3 months precipitation accumulation to the long-term average accumulation over the same time. We also use the monthly data to confirm verified conditions. Stream flow indicator is determined by comparing the monthly flow, average monthly flow, to the lowest average summer monthly flow. To assess conditions within the Kawartha Conservation watershed, we use more than 10 rain gauges, precipitation gauges, and 4 stream monitoring gauges across the watershed. So this slide represents the conditions at this particular situation, conditions for first five months of 2021. As you can see, we have 2 precipitation gauges graphs, and none of the months have reached the average, long-term average in 2021. So we are in significant deficit of precipitation. For example, if we look just for months of May, so average precipitation throughout the watershed was 24 millimeters. That is actually only 26% of the long-term monthly average. As a result, based on the 3 months precipitation indicator, it was determined that our watershed is in level 1 of low water conditions. As per protocol for the program, the level 1 was confirmed with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry and was officially declared by Kawartha Conservation on June 7th, 2021. We are working on the water response team meeting. The team will meet at the first week of July. As of this point, we issued media release that there will be some messages on social media, and we are asking residents and local businesses and industries to reduce their water consuming by 10%. Just something else. I mentioned that based on the 3 months precipitation indicator, the stream flow indicator is still in a good condition. We are still have enough flow in our local rivers and streams above those 100% or comparing to the long-term average flow. However, with conditions being dry, we will be keeping a very close watch of our flows as well. So, as I mentioned, residents and local businesses are asked and encouraged to reduce their water consumption by 10%. How can we achieve that? How can we do that? So we all can do that. Set up a goal to reduce your water usage. Stop for a minute, look around your house and the property, and you will find ways to reduce water consumption without impacting your lifestyle. Even more, reducing water usage will make you feel good, will make everybody feel good, because will be saving money on the water and energy bills. We will be helping costly water infrastructure to serve longer, and we will be feeling good as we are responsible citizens and we are saving our planet for future generations. So what do we want to do? First of all, we want start with checking our water meter and bill to track our water usage. Let's be accountable. Next step, let's do our household audit and determine where we can improve. You can start from suggestions that are in this presentation, or you can turn to the internet. There are plenty of information out there on how to make your household more water efficient. I would suggest to set up the general rule for your house, for your family. No water running without using it. Just running water. No, it's not happening in our house. So no running water while brushing your teeth. No sprinklers washing your driveways instead of sprinkling on the lawn. And maybe no lawn whatsoever in the way we see it, in the way we love it. Maybe we can turn it into something else. Check your plumbing around the house for water leaks. Improve your plumbing by replacing your toilet with a new low flow model. Installing low flow shower heads and aerators on all of your faucets. Installing a faucet which shuts off automatically and turns off automatically. I find this very cool. It's actually very hygienical. Replace your appliances with the Energy Star models. They also save on water. I know this is a big item, but put it in your on your goal list. So what else? Keep the hot water flowing without the waste. Invest in the tankless hot water heater. This is something, okay, don't ask me details, go to internet and check it out, but this is interesting solution. You will not have that water that just runs while warming up during your shower. By the way, for that water that runs before you can take your showers, keep a bucket in your bathroom and collect that water and reuse it around the house. Why not? When taking a shower, keep it short. Run your washing machine and dishwashers only when they are full and run them on shorter cycles. Reuse your water around your household. For example, if you have the fish tank and you clean that fish tank, use that water to water your plants. And the one tip I really like, boycott bottled water. Do not buy bottled water. Your municipal water is of a very high standard. And actually, not buying bottled water, you're reducing the amount of plastic on our planet. We help in our planet as well. And another interesting tip that helps us to save water in non-direct ways and kind of interesting ways. So eat at least one vegetarian meal per week. If you wonder what it has to do with saving water, the correction is very simple. It takes a lot of more water to raise livestock than it does to grow vegetables. If you consider all the water that livestock need to sustain their lives, as well as the water needed to grow food for those animals, you will see how all of that can add up. If you love your burgers and hot dogs, no one telling you to stop even eating them right away, but if you can give that a thought and kind of replace one meal per week, that will be quite a lot of help for the water efficiency on the planet, not necessarily within your household. So let's look outside. We all love our lawns and our gardens, and we spend significant amount of water pampering those. However, lawns by their nature are very water demanding. Turf needs significantly more water than most plants. And those pesky sprinkler systems have a way of sending water everywhere, but not necessarily our lawn. So next time, when you reseeding your lawn, Add a little bit of native drought-resistant grasses to your lawn to improve it during the hot conditions. Or, as an alternative, consider replacing your lawn with a beautiful rain garden with native plants that require less water and less maintenance, and also will reduce stormwater runoff from your property. One of the most not healthy things that you can do to your lawn is to cut your lawn very short. Don't cut grass shorter than 2.5–3 inches, 7–8 centimeters. Never cut more than 1/3 of the grass length each time you cut your grass. If you keep grass area to a minimum and plant the right plants in the right location, you will only need water during long periods of hot, dry weather. Minimum watering ensures deep root growth. When there has been no rain and soil is dry, apply about 2.5 centimeters, it's about 1 inch of water to the area once a week. Use a small rain gauge or tuna can to measure that amount. And also don't afraid to let your lawn go brown. It goes dormant. It does not die. It will jump back. It will bounce back when rain returns. So what else we can do? We can keep rainwater on our property. Direct downspouts away from paved areas and toward shrubs and trees. Install berms and swales on your property to keep more rainwater on the property and out of the storm system. So here we have the managed stormwater runoff as well. Just a few words about irrigation. Replace your sprinkler system with a water-efficient drip irrigation system. If you still use your sprinkler system, please take good care of it. Make sure to adjust sprinklers so only your lawn is watered and not your house, sidewalk, or street. I'm saying it a lot, I'm sorry. Install an automatic rain shut-off device on your sprinkler to eliminate unnecessarily watering. If you're using the drip irrigation system to water, depending on, set it up to water depending on temperature and rainfall amount. And a few general tips. For example, use a broom instead of a hose to clean your driveway and sidewalk. Do not wash your car with a hose. Use a bucket and a sponge. And actually, another tip, wash your car after the rain to make it easier. So leave your car in the rain and wash it after. It is easier. It takes less water and less efforts. And now I would like to say a few words with regards to the well owners. Water efficiency for the properties, for the household that depend on private wells. Those folks are way more aware about water use efficiency than those of us who live on their municipal wells. Because drought can be very challenging for well owners as groundwater is not recharged properly and water levels may drop. So for the well owners, water is not endless. Sometimes, not for all, but sometimes. So during the low water period, low water conditions, it's recommendation number 1, use less water. Lower your pump or pump intake deeper into the well. Change your pump, increase pressure tank size, rehabilitate your well, just upgrade it a little bit, deepen existing wells, install a storage tank if you like for outside storage. Sometimes question is asked if you can add water like to your well, whole water, and add it to your well. please remember it's not recommended. It's not recommended at all because it could contaminate your water supply and will not alleviate your water shortage problems during drought conditions. If you have added any water of unknown quality or suspect the quality of water in your well, you should have the water tested immediately to make sure that that water is safe to drink. For using less water, we'll recommend replacing inefficient fixtures with efficient ones. It's pretty much the same recommendation as for people on the municipal water supply. The same with recommendation with using more efficient water appliances. Actually, using less water means less dilution of the waste emptying into the septic tank and weeping tiles that will extend the function of your septic system. And the water pump comes on less often. So this will save you money on your electricity bill and extend the life of your pump. And we are close to the end of my presentation, close to the end of this talk. I would like to mention the issue of droughts in the future. We already established that droughts are a recurring phenomenon, difficult to forecast. They've been happening in the past, and with a change in climate, prolonged periods of the hot and dry weather are predicted and expected. They predicted to be more common, and we actually see them happening more often in recent decades. On your screen, you'll see 3 maps. So map with Ontario covered in yellow. That is the map of conservation authorities of areas that are at the level 1 of low water conditions, that actually are at low water conditions overall. Yellow, it's level 1, and orange is darker, that is level 2. So for level 1, 3 months precipitation were less than 60%. Yeah, between 80 and 60. For level 2, it's between 60 and 40. So this hot, dry weather is in place for the all southern Ontario. And the other 2 maps, they show you long-term weather forecast by Environment Canada. And according to that forecast, we are going to see dry, hotter weather for next summer months. Well, it makes our summer great. And with regards to precipitation, it says average precipitation. The average precipitation, so today's rain is very welcome, for me especially. The average precipitation will not necessarily bring us out of the deficit, but at least it will keep us at that level of the water response conditions where we are. Hopefully, if we are not getting better from point of view of the low water drought conditions, but at least we are at this on this level. And with that, this is the map of long-term. Let's see where it brings me. Can you still see it on your screen, Emma? Yeah, okay.
I can see a map.
Okay,
yeah.
It's a historical low water response map. I'll just turn it on, and we can, it's a long map. It shows every month starting from 2001 to 2020, and you will see the same colors, how the conditions change during this month. And I can answer questions if any questions, if we have any questions. Well, and this map will be just, showing the historical run of the low water conditions in Southern Ontario. Okay, so with that, I'm kind of at the last slide of my presentation. Thank you very much. I'll take questions.
Thanks, Irina. So if you wanted to turn your cameras on and mute yourselves, if you wanted to ask Irina any questions, please go ahead.
I don't really have a question as much as I have a comment. I'm shocked by how few people are on this seminar, given how serious the drought condition is in your area and to the north of you. I represent, I chair a group that represents the 35 reservoirs in the Trent Severn. And we are very, I think you and I have talked before, Irina. And,
yes, yes, that's like, I know you.
Yes, and it's just shocking to me that more people don't realize how extreme the situation we're in. Now, of course, it's raining today,
Yes,
but it's still, I mean, the data that I have says in 7 of the last 9 months, we've had significantly less than normal precipitation. And I mean, we've seen some of the largest reservoirs in the Trent Severn not getting close to being full. And that has, as you know, potential huge implications for later in the summer. Although I guess more implications for the reservoirs than for the Kawartha Lakes, because the Kawartha Lakes, as part of the canal system, will get their water. But it certainly has effects on water quality and other things when there's so little flow through the system. Anyway, just a comment, really. You didn't really comment on surface water very much. I guess I would be interested in knowing more about how you view the relationship between low flow through the Kawartha Lakes and the water quality issues and the aquatic vegetation issues that I'm reading about everywhere right now. People using the Trent Severn waterway already are saying they're seeing the worst weeds, aquatic plants, that they've ever seen. I don't know if that's true or not, but what does the Conservation Authority think of that?
Well, I'm not necessarily the best person to answer that. Brett Regano would be, oh, look at this situation here, 2016, okay. Brett Regano would be the person to chat with regards to aquatic plants. But if you...
I should tell you, by the way, the map you have on the screen is not changing on my screen.
It's not changing on the screen. Emma, is it changing for you?
No, it's just blank.
Okay, so
well, it's just got the map.
So okay, sorry about that. If somebody interested to see how this map changes, you can just Google Ontario historical low water, and it will bring you that map right away. So okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know how it will work. Okay, with regards to the weeds, low water, like I mean lower water levels, the early spring freshet, and high temperature. So water is warmer, water is lower, and the weeds are blooming and kind of developing earlier than usually. You know, like usually we see situation in today that we usually see in August. That is my perception and my understanding. But if you really want to talk about it, talk to Brett Regano.
Okay.
So yes, he might have more, you know, aquatic biologist insight to it other than my just hydrological point. Yeah.
I had one other question. It's interesting that you used the 3-month average, but the precipitation in April, about half of it fell in the last 4 days of the month, which makes it a very misleading figure, because when you get all the rain at once like that, it's not the same as getting it spread out over the month. So I was surprised that you would stick with the level 1 when in fact it's at least until the rain of the last week, and I don't know how much you're getting there. I would have thought you were in the level 2 category, except for that kind of freaky 4-day burst of moisture onto a very, very dry watershed.
We are based on the 3 months precipitation indicator, and so far we are in level 1, and as per the program, we cannot jump like from nothing into level 2.
Of course.
So we at the very first meeting of our water response team, we will be assessing, evaluating the conditions, and see what we do. Water response team can recommend moving to level 2 or staying. So that is going to be evaluated and reassessed at the beginning of July.
Thank you. You do have a question in the chat.
Well, the question said, just go to questions. Wi-Fi was unstable. I'm sorry about that. I did ask my family log off. I'm sure they were not on the Wi-Fi, but you know, sometimes it happens, and probably weather doesn't help.
Yeah, so Irina, the question was, do we make recommendations to the city about the price of water? So the answer is no, we do not. To my knowledge, do that. That is nothing to do with the Conservation Authority at all.
No.
So hopefully that helps to answer your questions.
Okay. Actually, price of water helps implement the water efficiency within the households. And when I talked to the city of Kawartha Lakes with regards to water efficiency, they said water usage in within the Kawartha city of Kawartha Lakes is the lowest throughout the Ontario, just because the prices are the highest. Yeah, but I know it's very costly.
Okay, do we have any other questions? I know we've just run over a little bit in time here.
Right. What was the link you told me to use to see your map with the animation?
Low water response, Ontario low water response map. Just Google that.
Okay.
I can, let me see if I can put it in the chat. Copy. Chat. Yes. Yeah, here we are. It's in the chat.
That's great.
I should have thought of that before. Sorry.
Thanks, Irina.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
Irina, I guess. Oh,
it's
sorry,
not in the
go
chat.
ahead.
Okay. Let's do it again.
I think you sent it just to me originally, Irina. Yeah, it's gone to everyone now.
I'm not a big Zoom user, more team user. Yeah, now it's for everyone. I see it.
Yeah. So Irina, this is maybe a good time just to, you know, are there any, I suppose a question is, are there any municipal restrictions in place now that we're seeing across our jurisdiction?
For the Kawartha jurisdiction, the region of Durham, the portion of our jurisdiction within the region of Durham, they have the restriction on a regular basis, regardless of the condition, in odd and even days starting the June 1st. So already you can water your lawn on odd day if you're odd number and even if you even number. For the city of Kawartha Lakes, they have to bring their water restriction bylaw in place. They do have it as a bylaw. They have to enforce it. Nothing yet, but that will be something discussed at the water response team meeting and recommended. The city of Kawartha Lakes is the part of the team, water response team.
Thank you. That's great. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up the session today?
No, thank you very much, though.
Very welcome. I will post the
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
yes. The PDF format of the presentation will be posted on our